Hello and welcome everyone. Today at IGL, I'll be showcasing how I've managed to set up all of the visuals that you can currently see on the screen. So let's get to it. The first thing that I'm going to show you is how I've managed to set up this decal. As you can see here on the right side of the screen, you're able to set the forward scale of the projection of that specific decal, as well as the overall scale value for the texture. You're able to set a different texture for different decal in the level, since I've made this variable public inside of this blueprint. As you can see here, you're able to set it to absolutely any image that you want. You're also able to change the color itself of the image and the color power to increase or decrease the brightness of it. Lastly, you can make this a little bit random by clicking on this box that I've set up inside of the blueprint as well. Inside of the blueprint, I'm using the construction script to perform all of the tasks that I've managed to set up for this current blueprint. I'm not using anything in the event graph. As you can see, it's completely empty. As for the animation setup that I've mentioned in the last video, I've managed to set up the jump, start, falling and landing accordingly, so that you can have a very smooth jump transition from when the player starts to jump in, fall in, and then finally to land. I've basically separated the jump animation into 3 separate parts inside of Blender and imported the 3 separate animations and set them up here. In terms of the overall robot functionality, I've created a child blueprint off of the master blueprint robot, so that now you're able to possess this child blueprint by clicking a button. So now I'm able to control this robot while the marble is just standing there still. I'll further fix this and implement this so that the marble is basically connected to the robot somehow. And just to again demonstrate the jump, when you jump, you fall and then you land. I'm going to expand a little bit more on this functionality so that I can use the robots to destroy different objects inside of the level. Currently, the physics objects that you're able to interact with are these wooden barrels as well as the metal crates that you're able to shoot the projectile at. Currently, this robot doesn't have the functionality of shooting projectiles, but I will set this up eventually at some point. As for the player main character marble, the marble itself can't destroy the metal crates. However, the marble can essentially ground slam onto the wooden barrels in order to destroy them. To quickly show you the overall workflow, what I did is creating a master physics object, which is a blueprint actor. In here, this blueprint doesn't hold any components, it only holds the variables that you can see on the screen here: destroyed, object array and size. Now back in the editor, what I did was I right click on this master physics blueprint and I've created a child. I did this both for the barrel as well as the physics crate. As for the physics barrel, I've put 3 functions inside of the construction script so that again they happen before the game even starts. And lastly, I've created some doors for each of the buildings that you can see inside of the level. Each door that will be able to be accessed by the player is colored differently in comparison to the default color. With the default colors, you won't be able to get inside of this building, at least on the bottom floor. If we quickly look at the colored door, if we step close enough, the door will start to open quite slowly, and if we walk out of the invisible trigger box, the door will close. With the default doors, if the player gets close enough, the door won't be open and it will stay shut. I've also made some prefabs for both the small building as well as the big one, so that I can have a wooden frame inside of each building on the bottom floor. As you can see, this adds a little bit of an extra detail, and it's quite efficient since each frame is set up for different building type. So the small building will have a small frame, the big building will have a big frame, and towers will have none, since towers will never be accessible by the player. As for the small building, this is the only building that I've managed to somewhat decorate for now anyways, since that's all I had the time for this week. As for the level design, I've added a few of these sewer grate cogs around the level, which allow you to basically get into a little bit higher places quite easily. I've explained on how I've managed to set them up in one of the previous videos, so if you're interested on how all that works, you can check that out. Now, since the level is still not yet finished, I'm still planning to do a little bit more assets that the player can navigate through around the level. For now, it's quite easy to navigate yourself, although there's few areas that are not accessible as of yet, such as this window for example. But more on that on the future videos. So thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, follow and obey. Peace.